Right now, you're listening to the Scary Vibes podcast. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
And my name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Today, we're on episode 33, and we're just right around the corner to Halloween.
It's pretty crazy, man, how fast these days have been going. Like, it's kind of freaking me out because I literally feel like it just turned October, and then now all of a sudden we are, let's see. So we're recording right now on the 19th. That's insane to me.
Yeah, we're right around the corner. Halloween is going to be here before you know it.
Yes, sir.
The crazy thing is today I went to Michael's, which is a hobby shop, or they sell fabrics and markers. And they had all the Halloween stuff already marked 50% off, and they had the Christmas trees out.
Oh, you know what, dude? I can't stand when they do that. I mean, I understand why retailers do that, but at the same time, it's like, yo, can we just have our month? Like our full month?
Yeah, don't take this away from me.
Seriously, man. Like let's give us a chance to enjoy the doom and gloom before you replace it with holiday cheer. Because in reality, there's still a whole other month before Christmas. Right? Why is it that there's not like huge decorations and whatnot and big blow ups and like, I don't know, like huge statues of turkeys or something that the stores sell? They literally just jump right from like pumpkins to candy canes. It's so weird.
That's why I leave my Halloween stuff up until December.
Nice. Leave it up all year round, man. I think we should encourage that.
No, definitely. So, episode 33. Tonight's topic, it came straight from my dome. I was like, you know what? Halloween's right around the corner. And I want to create an episode about just things that are frightening, scary. Let's talk about movies that are actually scary, which is surprising. The movie that I find scary is not my most favorite scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we could talk about some things that kind of just are creepier and whatnot. But before we get into all of that,
yes, sir.
How have you been?
I've been doing okay, man. I've been doing okay. Moving and shaking. Big changes coming. Recent career change. I'm not going to go too into detail about that, but I'm excited for what the future may hold. It's kind of scary, right? Because you were talking about things being scary and whatnot. I'm a little scared, man. I'm a little scared going into a career field that is somewhat related to what I've done for the last like 20 some odd years, but I mean it's different at the same time. But I'm excited to learn something new. And hopefully this can lead to bigger and better things. The one thing that I'm really excited about though is that it's going to give me the opportunity to have somewhat of a normal schedule.
Yes.
back to like the whole 9 to 5 thing, so that I'll be able to dedicate more time to doing this, which we absolutely love, which I love, and it's a passion project, obviously. So I'm pretty excited for it, man.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, change definitely could be scary, but then it's one of those things like after you do it, you're probably gonna be like, thank goodness I did it. It's gonna kind of stink because I used to love hearing all the stories of you going into those creepy hospitals and retirement centers and time that you got locked in the garbage area.
Oh geez, I completely forgot about that. How did I forget about that one? Yeah,
I mean,
man.
it must have been like episode 1 or 2.
It was really early. Yeah, it was really early. And it was a painful experience. But yeah, I mean, who knows, man? I could have some even crazier stories coming up.
Ooh.
We don't know. Yeah. What about you, man? What's going on in your life?
Well, nothing much. I'm enjoying this nice fall weather we got. I woke up to it raining. It was 8 o'clock and it was gloomy. I got to sleep in.
Yes, sir.
Instead of sun just waking me up like crazy.
Isn't that gross?
I'm excited. The sun is gross. It needs to take a chill pill.
I'm saying, bro. I'm over it.
It'd be cool if we could just put like a pair of sunglasses on the sun and just chill it out.
Put like some kind of a screen over it.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Then I'm also just kind of excited to get into some fall activities I've been holding back. And I always do this because I like pumpkin patches and haunted houses and Fright Fest. They always open up in like September, August, and it's just hot. And if I'm going to a pumpkin patch, I'm trying to wear a hoodie. I'm trying to, you know, walk around with some kettle corn in my freaking pocket, and have a good time. So,
I hear that.
um, so I have that stuff planned, but I'm like, hopefully it's not too cold now. But either way, we're
I
gonna do it.
think you'll be all right, man. Especially if you get get those steps in. The cold will definitely be your best friend.
Yeah, definitely.
But so what do you
So,
got? What do you really got planned then, for as far as like spooky season activities? Are you planning on like checking out any haunted houses? Are you planning on taking your daughter to a pumpkin patch?
so there's a
Um,
pumpkin patch here in the Chicagoland area. It's called
mhm.
Benson's, and I've been going here since I was like a kid, but it's really cool. Like you pay once you're inside, everything is pretty much free as far as like activities. So there's like rides and hay rides, and there's pig races and haunted houses and fun houses and just tons of just fun activities to do, you know.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it would be a good time, man.
Even though last time I was there, this freaking llama spit on me.
Oh no! What did
And
you do to it, Mike? What did
bro,
you do to
something
llama?
something about llamas, man. They always got that attitude and they're always creepy and they're just like they like stare you down, so I gotta stare them back down, and this motherfucker spit on me.
Llamas always remind me of that one coworker who thinks that he's cooler than he actually is. And llamas usually have weird hairstyles too.
Yeah, like a toupee. It looks like they're wearing toupees.
It does look like that. Seriously, it's I don't know, man. And then they have these weird buck teeth too. And I don't know. I'm not gonna get into all that, but yeah,
So
they're
I had
kind of
something
weird.
kind of, so I had something kind of creepy happen to me a couple days ago. I mean, it's not something to have a whole like story around, but I
Okay.
thought it was interesting. So, I mean, we've all been there. We've all, been doing something, and in the corner of your eyes, you feel like you've seen maybe like a dark shadow or something move, and you look.
Okay.
So I was at work and I was in the back, and I felt like something moved. And as I turned my head, it was like something white,
Hmm.
like ran by, like on the other side of me, like on the other side of the shelf. And I was like, well, that's weird. Like, usually it's like a dark figure, but it was a white figure. And the only thing that
Huh.
it makes me think of is that Nightmare on Elm Street. That scene where, she's wearing that shower curtain and like she's just being like dragged through the hallway. I was like,
Mike,
I know.
I swear, only you would take like a positive thing, like a white light and or like a white shadow, and then turn it into something completely horrifying.
So do you think because it was a white light that you think it could have been something good? Do you think I should have followed the light?
Well, I don't think you should have necessarily followed it, but I don't think you should have been like how did you feel? How did you feel when you saw it?
You know me, I'm the type of person that kind of just I was like, and I just kept working. But it was like something in my mind. I was like, that's not normal.
Yeah, you are super nonchalant about absolutely everything. Like you would Mike's definitely the type of person to like see an alien ship and be like, "Huh, dope." And
That
just
would
like
be
that's it.
dope.
Yeah, huh, dope. That was awesome. Like everybody else would be freaking the hell out, screaming, having a nervous breakdown, and Mike would be like, "Okay, cool. Let's go get some chicken tenders."
Mm,
Like that was
I
dope.
do love
Let's
me.
go.
I do love me some chicken tenders.
As do I, my friend. As do I.
So,
So, yeah.
besides
Oh,
movies, what are some creepy things?
creepy things that what? Scare me in
Yeah,
particular?
something that's just scary to you. You find scary.
Bro. So I know that we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but I'm not like one of those people that has kind of like those typical fears of like there are people that are scared of snakes and spiders or bugs, but there is an animal or a type of animal, I should say, that is terrifying to me.
Ooh,
And
which one?
that is, dude, that is alligators and crocodiles, man. Like alligators and crocodiles are literally the perfect predator, right? Them along with sharks have never had to evolve because they are just the perfect predator, right? I mean, these things have like a brain the size of a walnut, and they're just like great at their job. Meaning that they like a 13-foot alligator or like a 16-foot to 20-foot crocodile could be right next to you underwater, and you would have no idea. They're so stealthy, they're so creepy, and they're just like the perfect ambush hunter. And it just that scary, dude. I used to have nightmares, like a reoccurring nightmare that I was either surrounded by crocodiles or I had somehow found myself in a situation where there were just crocodiles present trying to like jump out of water and trying to eat me and stuff. And it's just there's something just so creepy about the fact that nobody ever really dies from the alligator biting you, but they usually die from either the death roll where the crocodile clamps down on your arm and then they just roll and they will tear apart, like tear off whatever limb or body part that's in their mouth by rolling around. So you'll either die by blood loss or you die by drowning, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
they literally will clamp on you and they'll pull you under the water.
Don't they like dive? Like they'll like hold you and just dive underwater?
Yeah, they just grab you and they just like go down,
And when
you
they
know.
hiss,
I mean, they're just so creepy. They've got rows of teeth, right? I mean, their bite force is unbelievable. Can break through bone. I mean, it's just so creepy. And nine times out of 10, usually when a person gets attacked by an alligator or a crocodile, they don't ever eat the person because
no.
they don't have a taste for the person. So it's like, but there have been documented cases of like serial killer crocodiles in like the
Mm.
Philippines. I remember there was an infamous crocodile by the name of Lalong who was like a serial killer, man. This gigantic crocodile who was rumored to be around like 30 feet. It was a massive animal. And it would, take fishermen in like the blink of an eye. People would like report seeing fishermen out on their boats, and then in a split second, they'd just be gone. There was just a splash and they were gone. Then, like days later, they would find the fisherman's body mangled, right? But dead because of drowning. Like, bro, it's the fact that animals can be serial killers too is so creepy.
We were talking about that
Mm-hmm.
the other day, well, maybe like a month ago,
Yeah,
about the lions you were telling me about, right? Isn't
yeah.
there
The Ghost in the Darkness. There's those two lions, the skins of the lions for that were based on that movie, The Ghost in the Darkness, that they had released back in like the mid '90s with Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer. It was, those lions were serial killers. They would kill people for the sheer enjoyment of it. They wouldn't even eat them,
yeah,
and
I remember my mom telling me about it, and they would send what, like hunters to like go take care of them, and every group of hunters they would send, wouldn't they just like end up
either
dead?
either they would get killed or they would come back empty-handed. They were just too smart. They were just way too smart for them, and it was really weird because
There was two male lions that
was it two?
terrorized a railroad construction camp,
Uh-huh.
killing and eating at least 35 workers.
That's nuts.
The lions were unusually bold, dragging men from their tents at night and devouring them. What makes this story ripe for horror is the eerie behavior of the lions. They hunted together, and it was almost strategic,
Mhm.
and they left behind gruesome scenes. The Tazvo lions.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily target humans. I guess they would also kill other groups of lions and eat their cubs to kind of assert dominance to sur.
See, and that's like that takes a fair amount of planning to do something like that. And there are, a lot of people out there that think that animals are just dumb. But bro, I'm sorry, man. Animals, you got to think these things. They strive on, they survive on instinct. But there
Oh,
has to be a ridiculous level of intelligence involved, also, and cunning to be able to survive in that type of atmosphere, in like a cutthroat atmosphere like that, right? Eat or be eaten.
I was actually watching a trailer to this video game earlier today. It's called
Okay.
Zootosis,
Ooh.
and it's a first-person game, and you're basically a zookeeper, and I guess you're wearing a body cam, and you start your first shift at night, obviously.
Okay.
And as you're doing your rounds, you notice some strange behaviors on with some of the animals, and it turns out that some of these animals have this parasite that's causing them to just be bloodthirsty and murderous. And
Nice.
this game just looks crazy. Like on the cover, it's this panda bear with these red glowing eyes and these long, sharp teeth and these. It almost looks like
I gotta look this up. What was the name of it again?
it's called Zootosis. It comes out October 24th. And yeah, it just kind of has these like claws coming out of its mouth. It's really creepy and eerie looking. But yeah, animals. Didn't you say there was a movie or a trailer that you recently seen about like what chimps or?
Yeah, man. There's a movie about a killer monkey that I mean, I haven't done a lot of research on it. I saw like a real quick clip of it that, just popped up that somebody had posted on TikTok. But I know there was, what was the movie Nope?
Uh huh.
Where they had showed like a clip of a killer monkey, a monkey that was like a part of some kind of TV show, sitcom that eventually got very aggressive and ended up killing everybody on the set. And this is not actually based on that,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently, um, it has to do with some friends visiting their rich, one of their rich friends, and this person has a monkey,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody thinks it's all cute and cuddly and whatnot. But then eventually things start to go wrong, and the monkey ends up, I believe, getting. I think the monkey ends up getting bitten by a bat and starts to go rabid. So he becomes very aggressive and starts killing this group of 20 somethings. So I mean, should be pretty entertaining, I would think. I mean, there's actually been quite a bit, like quite a number of movies from the 80s all the way up to the 90s, right? So there was like Monkey Shines was a movie about so it was a telepathic link between a quadriplegic man and his companion monkey, but the monkey ends up becoming like really violent. So the monkey was supposed to be his caregiver, and he becomes, violent. And what's kind of scares me about monkeys is that they're so much smaller than people, but
Mm-hmm.
yet they're so strong. It freaks me out, dude.
They are extremely strong, and they could kill. I remember hearing like a story about like one of them killing like their zookeeper and like eating their face because they got like pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just to let people know that the movie that I was talking about, it's going to be coming out in 2026, and it's called Primate, a film described as a bloody and fun time about a rabid killer chimp.
Is he cute?
You know what? It's completely CGI.
Hopefully
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
completely CGI. It looks. You could, well, let's just say it looks like it's CGI, right?
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. But I mean, obviously, I'm definitely gonna go see it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure it would be badass. Like you said, I'm sure that he's gonna mow through people.
It's just gonna make us more scared of monkeys. Honestly, man.
You know what scares me?
What's that?
Something about the unknown with space and the ocean, but primarily the ocean at night.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. Like, I have talked about this, I think, in a different episode, how the ocean at night scares me. And then I had recently seen something where somebody was talking about how, like, during the daytime, the sun and the sand and everything about the ocean just looks so, like, relaxing and almost like just like calms you, right?
Yeah.
But then something about the ocean at night and just being out like in the complete like darkness and hearing like the water just smacking against each other.
Uh-huh.
I find it just creepy. Super, super creepy. I remember like watching the TV show
Oh,
Deadliest Catch,
yeah, okay.
and when they would just like pan out into the ocean and the way that water would just get all choppy and they would just be out in the middle of nowhere, I would be like, man, that just seems so scary. And they always talk about like only like 1% of the ocean has actually been explored.
Mm.
Nobody knows what's down there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
what type of animals are actually in the ocean, you know?
right. I mean, I guess night right, so like nighttime water or like the ocean at night could be comparable to being afraid of the dark because it's the same thing, right? Although you can still breathe when the lights are out or when it's pitch black. And it's not even necessarily that you're afraid of the dark, it's more that you're afraid of what you can't see, right? Because this black water, you can't see. I mean, you can barely see things during the day, but at night, you really can't see anything. And there are animals, there are hunters, there are predators that are still under there that hunt at night and can see perfectly in complete darkness, which
Exactly.
is
And
scary.
it is super scary. And I mean, right now, you're in your house, you're in your room, and you feel big. You feel, like you have your space. But I
Safe.
feel like being out there and like
Mm-hmm.
just being vulnerable, and yeah, I feel like you would feel small in the like grand scheme of things, you know?
Okay, so you feel like it would make you feel kind of insignificant. Like you realize just how vulnerable.
Yeah, like you have zero protection. You are out in the wide open. You know what I
Right.
mean? You could be dragged under. It's just so many unknowns and so many variables, and you kind of just the thought of it just makes you feel like tiny.
Well, yeah, man, especially like knowing how vulnerable you are in the water because you're out of your element, right? Like, yeah, at least when you're on land, you can run, you can hide from things, and that increases your chances of survival. However, when you're in the ocean, you're kind of just at the mercy of whatever animal or animals. If I mean, they could just do whatever the hell they want with you, right?
Or
You're
even,
these things can
yeah.
move lightning fast and maneuver throughout that water, and we're like reduced to doggy paddling. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way that we could outswim a shark or even a killer dolphin, right? Like, dolphins could kill you if they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, dude. It's just,
That's the kind of stuff that creeps me out, you know?
you know what still creeps me out is like having to walk into a dark room, even though like even if it's a room that I am familiar with,
Hmm.
but just the fact that it's pitch black and I can't see what's in front of me. You know, those times where you have to kind of go into a room to grab something, it's pitch black, and then even before you're able to like turn the light on, you have to go into this room and you have to flick that light switch on. Because I mean, I guess I should invest in the clapper or something like that. That would probably help to put my mind at ease. But I don't have that. So I feel like in the back of my mind, I still have this fear of when I flip that light switch on, there's going to be something there that I wasn't expecting. You know, what if there's like a killer clown there holding a big meat cleaver, ready to bury it in my skull? Or some kind of, I don't know, some kind of animal that escaped from the zoo somehow found its way into my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always just like some weird random variation that my mind is a weird place,
I
right?
get you.
And then
One thing,
especially if you know, being empathic, we go off of energy, right? Everything is energy, and even if I can't really see what's in the dark, I can sense that there's something there. And
mm,
when you were talking about being afraid, and I'm not afraid to actually admit to people that I do still sleep with like a light on, right? But that's more because of the fact that it it gives me peace of mind. It's not a
yeah,
bright light, right? It's not a bright light. It's a very low light. But just knowing that there is a light there, and I'll tell you, it doesn't stop um spirits from coming and seeing, coming and saying what's up. It does not stop that at all. But I like to be able to open my eyes and know exactly what's in front of me in case I need to book it out or do whatever, you know. But like sleeping in complete darkness makes me feel incredibly, incredibly vulnerable because on so many levels, not just, knowing that when I'm asleep, anything can get to you, right? But knowing that there are like I'm relying completely on my other sense and having the light sort of how do I explain this? Like having the light on sort of keeps other spirits at bay, right? It keeps darker spirits at bay. It doesn't necessarily keep out like spirits that were once human, but like the darker ones, the light will actually keep those away. So, but if I had that light off, dude, there's no way.
they'd be crawling all over you.
Absolutely, I would have no sleep, like no sleep ever. I mean, it's difficult sleeping now, but like I would get no sleep at all.
I'm the opposite. I hate if like my daughter stays in my room and she turns off the TV and then she falls asleep and the TV's
Mm-hmm.
on. I'm like, I have to turn off. I hate that. Back onto today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
What movie do you have for us?
Oh man, so basically our topic was to choose a movie that scared us, right? And some people might be disappointed in hearing me say this because this movie was kind of portrayed as almost like a horror comedy, but there were aspects of this movie that coincided with experiences that I've actually had in my life in terms of dealing with spiritual beings and entities and things of that nature. But my choice was 2009's Drag Me to Hell, right? And Drag Me to Hell was directed by Sam Raimi, and it was kind of like his segue back into horror. So early in his career, Sam Raimi gave us bangers like he was the creator of the Evil Dead franchise, right? But then he kind of like took a break when he got into like the mid to late 90s. And he gave us like the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. And he was doing those kinds of things, right? But Drag Me to Hell was his segue back into horror, and I feel like he pulled out all the stops. So I'm not going to go into huge detail about this movie because I feel like a lot of our listeners have already seen it. But there is a big scary scene that happens right in the beginning of the movie that sets up the rest of the tone, right? So the movie begins in Pasadena, California in 1969, right? So let me paint the picture for you guys. So there is a pickup truck that pulls up to what appears to be an old mansion, right? Old Hollywood mansion, it looks like. And there is a frantic couple that happen to be Mexican, and they're, freaking out. They're speaking Spanish. And so basically, they bring their son to the home of this healer, right? So the mother's banging on the door, and the healer comes. She opens the door, and she tells her, "I need you to help my son." She's so scared, right? So they explain to the healer that their son has been hearing voices for the past 3 days, and that they fear that there is a spirit that is coming for him, right? So the healer already knows what's up. So the healer asks the parents, "Okay, what did your son do?" Right? So she said, what did he do to bring this on? And of course the parents are like, "Oh no, he didn't do anything. He's a good boy," right? So they deny anything that he did. But after the healer presses them, they admit that the boy stole a silver necklace from a gypsy wagon. And they say that when they found out that their son stole it, that they tried to give this necklace back, but the gypsies would not accept it, right? So turns out that in punishment, right, in retaliation for this kid stealing this gypsy necklace, I don't even know if that's PC. I should be saying Romani, right? I'm not sure. But they put a curse on this kid. And so as a result, now this kid says that he's hearing voices, and he said that they're saying horrible things, and they say that they're coming for him, and he feels like the voice is getting louder and louder, right? So the healer goes to work. She says, "Bring him inside." And she automatically, she's there with her banana leaves and, her sage, and she's trying to smoke the demon out, and she's saying prayers, so she's going to work, really trying to free this kid from whatever this curse is. And as she's doing this kid is looking up to the ceiling, and on the ceiling, he's seeing all of these shadows of these monstrous looking hands, none of them which look human. They've got like claws. Some of them are cloven at the end. I mean, they just look really, really scary, right? And so as the healer is praying over the boy, this invisible force just bursts through the doors and just attacks the healer, throws her across the room, goes right at the mom. I mean, it looks like an invisible boxer is just beating the hell out of these parents. And the boy freaks out, obviously, and he runs, right? Because he's scared. But he runs out of the room to this like balcony, right? And below him looks like there's this huge I don't even know what you would call it. What do rich people call it? A foyer, whatever. But basically it just looks like this big, huge, open, almost like a ballroom or something. Well, this invisible force, you can hear, it just sounds monstrous. You can't see it, but it picks this kid up, man, and it tosses him off of the balcony to the floor below. And so as the boy like starts to regain consciousness after he hits this really hard marble floor at the bottom, the floor begins to crack and break open, right? And through the cracks you can see this orange hue, and orange and yellow light streaks start breaking through the cracks. And so finally the floor breaks away, and it just reveals what we believe is hell, right? I mean, there's just fire and brimstone, and you can hear screams, and it's just like something straight out of a nightmare. And, the kid screams, "Ayúdame, ayúdame," which means it's Spanish for help me, help me. And as he's screaming, you see these hands start to come up from below, and they start grabbing at the boy, and the boy is just screaming, and he's begging for somebody to help him. And the camera pans up, and as the camera is panning up to the top of the balcony, you see the curandera, or the healer, and she's standing there in absolute horror, looking down and seeing this boy being grabbed by all of these demonic creatures, and she can do nothing, right? She can do nothing but watch in horror as these things are pulling him down into the depths of hell. And I mean, it literally just ends as the boy is screaming, "Help me, help me, help me." And then boom, drag me to hell comes across the screen. I mean, that in itself was super freaky, dude. It's super freaky. Like, who sets up a movie like that? I mean, honestly, it was a banger. Not even gonna lie, but without explaining too much about what goes on in the movie. So, flash forward to present day, right? And you're dealing with a different story. Obviously, you've got it's modern day. You've got young girl named Christine. She's a young woman, got to be like maybe in her mid 20s, and she has a boyfriend named Clay. And Christine is a bank teller, right? Like, she works. I'm not sure if she's a loan officer specifically, but she works at a bank, and she has these aspirations of moving up that corporate ladder, right? And she wants to apply. Well, she has applied for this assistant manager position, and she basically goes to her boss, who's the bank manager, and she says, "Hey, have you given any thought to who's going to get this job?" And he says, "Oh, well, I haven't made my decision yet, but it's between you and Stu." And Stu is that one character that I think everybody in every workplace ever has dealt with somebody like this. It's that one person, that one coworker who thinks that he's the boss and tries to, tell you to do things and bark off orders at you, and is always kissing the boss's ass, all, in a way to try to like make it easier, fast track his way up the ladder. So Christine ends up helping the very next guest, and that is Mrs. Ganush, right? And Mrs. Ganush is this older uh gypsy woman, Romani woman, and right off the bat you're freaking out because she's sitting there and she's like running her fingernails, kind of just smacking them on the table, right on the desk, and her nails, they look like they're made out of wood. They're so freaky. And this old
Ew.
woman has like a dead eye, and she basically is there to ask for an extension on her mortgage on her home, because that she doesn't have the means to pay for it. She says that because of her health troubles and things, that she's not able to make the mortgage payment, so she's there to ask if she could have an extension. Now Christine basically goes and she speaks to her manager, and the manager tells her, "Listen, we've already given her two extensions. At this point, procedure is that we start putting a lien on her house, and we're going to eventually take possession of her home because she's not able to pay for it." So Christine feels bad. She's like, "You know what? There's got to be something that we can do. There has to be something that we can do." And he says, "Well, I'm going to leave that decision up to you, but just know that part of being a manager or an assistant manager is that you have to make the difficult calls, right?" So hearing that, she's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to break this old lady's heart." So she goes over back to Mrs. Ganush and she tells her, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Ganush, but this is out of the question. You've already received two extensions, and we can't do it anymore. I'm sorry." So the woman starts saying, "Well, this is my house. What can I do?" And Christine looks at the computer, and she tells her, "Well, I see that you have your granddaughter here listed as a dependent, or as a reference." And she's like, "Can't you stay with her?" She's like, "I don't want to burden her. You don't know what it's like. Like, I'm a woman and I'm too proud. I can't lose my house. I've lived there for 30 years." And so Christine, she apologizes to her. So immediately this woman turns on the theatrics, right? And she basically starts turning on the waterworks. She gets down on her knees and she starts begging Christine, crying, making this scene in the bank. "Please help me. Please help me. You can't let them take my house." And Christine's freaking out because this woman is making this huge scene in there in an attempt to try to, I guess kind of embarrass her into helping her. And Christine's like, no, like I'm not going to do it. And so the woman grabs Christine's dress and starts to like try to kiss her dress. And Christine freaks out and she pulls away from her, and the woman kind of falls forward. Next thing you know, her demeanor completely changes, and she goes from being this, helpless old lady to now she's super aggressive, and she accuses Christine of shaming her. She tells her, I begged you. I got on my hands and knees and you shame me? Bro, next thing you know, this old lady, she's spry for a whatever 90-year-old or whatever she is, man. She jumps up and she lunges at Christine and she tries to attack her. Luckily for Christine, the security officers are right there. They grab her and they get Mrs. Ganush before she's able to get to Christine and actually hurt her. So they end up throwing her out, right? And Ms. Ganush goes back to her car. And fun fact, the car in this movie was actually Ash Williams' car from the Evil Dead franchise,
That's
which I
badass.
which is actually Sam Raimi's actual car that he still owns to this day, which that's awesome. So basically now Christine is like happy because she feels like she's actually shown her manager that she has what it takes to be a manager and actually make the hard calls. So on the way out after the bank closes, she's walking through her parking garage and she sees that big yellow, I don't even know what was the make and model of that car, man. But she sees that it's Mrs. Ganush's car. And so she's freaking out because she feels like she's there. So she runs and she jumps into the car. And she starts to see Mrs. Ganush's handkerchief like kind of floating outside of the car. And it's eerily making its way from the windshield and it makes its way to the side of the car. And she's watching it until she sees it go towards the back of the car. As she turns her head to look towards the back of the car, she sees Mrs. Ganush sitting in her backseat. The woman attacks her. They get into a full-on fight. And this fight gets nasty, man. This old lady's tearing out chunks of her hair. She's punching her in the face. Christine's screaming at the top of her lungs. She's freaking out. At one point, she grabs a stapler and starts like smacking this old woman in the face with it. So she's got like all these staples sticking in her forehead. I remember this really gnarly scene where Christine basically is trying to like drive the car off, like to drive and get this woman off of her, and she sees that they're about to smack into a parked car, so she's able to take her seatbelt and she clamps it. Right, she's able to secure the seatbelt right before they smack into this car, which causes Miss Janusz to her face to hit like the what is it called, the dashboard. When she hits the dashboard, her false teeth come out, and she immediately comes to and she like lunges at Christine and she tries to bite her, which is hysterical because she doesn't have her teeth in, so all she's doing is like aggressively gumming this poor woman's face, and you're just grossed out like, oh my god, this is so horrible. So they end up getting into this huge fight. The woman ends up like getting the best of her eventually, and she rips a button from Christine's coat, and she starts to say something in her native tongue, and then she tells her, "Soon you're going to come to me begging," and then she leaves. So she basically uses this button to curse this woman. And let me tell you why I have a problem with this, Mike.
Whoa,
I,
what'd I do?
I have, well, not with you. I don't have a problem with you, but I have a problem with this lady. Like,
Okay.
thinking that she actually has cause to basically condemn somebody to being dragged to hell when she didn't have the means to pay for her home. I understand. Listen, there's extenuating circumstances. I feel for her. But the fact that they gave her two extensions already, and then she went to the bank fully knowing that she was going to try to tug on the heartstrings to try to get this woman to basically go against her job, right? To basically make Christine do what she wanted. And because Christine didn't do what she wanted, she's like, I'm going to curse you to eternal damnation, which made me really upset because I'm like, who does this lady think she is?
Yeah,
You
like
know?
isn't like doesn't she have like a spell to get rich?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you got the whammy to be able to curse somebody for it to, sentence them to eternal damnation, but you can't do something to help you get more money or make yourself more lucky or abundant. Like,
And then
it
Chris
really
and then
bothered me.
Christine was like giving her options like, hey, well maybe you should talk to your family, or hey, maybe you should try to like find some help from like one of these like facilities or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I can't do that. No, like she everything was no, no, no. Like, okay, pay the bill, ask
Hmm.
somebody for help, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and why are you
Well,
gonna get mad at her and that crazy? But yeah, she made a scene, and at that moment, you kind of feel bad for Christine. That was one of the things
you
I
do.
had. One of the things that I wanted to talk about when I was gonna share my input on this movie is
Uh huh.
that scene. It was just you know part of it was like guilt versus karma. You know what I mean? Like you really felt for Christine at that moment because she wanted to really probably help the lady. You could tell on her face
Yeah.
that she felt bad for this woman's circumstances,
Hmm.
but there was nothing she could really do. She was trying to move up this corporate ladder, and for her boss to be okay, we're gonna put it on you. She could have gave the lady an extension,
Yeah.
but then she chose not to better herself. So it was one of those things. It makes you really like wrap your head around it. You know what I
I
mean?
honestly, I don't think she did anything wrong. Honestly, I don't think she did anything wrong. Because obviously there were people there at that bank that did feel bad for her and did give her two extensions. And let's say that she did end up, giving her another extension. That the following month she would be right back in there with working, turning the waterworks on to whatever bank teller, begging them to help her. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like it was like basically it was a scam that she was running. She got upset that she wasn't able to, get it to work again this time. And now she wanted to like take it out on this poor girl. And essentially the rest of the movie is about poor Christine being tormented by this demon that has basically been sicked on her. And now I think they said that she had like 3 days um before this demon would come to collect her. And during that 3 days, man, she starts seeing all types of crazy things. She's having hallucinations. Um, she sees the silhouette of like this goat headed creature. At one point, she freaks out and she like feels like she's being chased in her home, and she slams her bedroom door and she locks it. And there's at this one point, she looks like she can see under the door, and she sees the shadow of these cloven feet standing on the other side of her door. Bro, it's so damn scary.
There's something else we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so when she realizes she's been cursed, she goes and she seeks the help of this guy who knows a little bit about nothing. And this guy, he says, okay, yeah, you've been cursed. And obviously, she's like, what can I do? And one of the things that he recommended was a blood offering. He said, well, maybe you could get a small animal
Uh-huh.
and you could, do it as an offering, and maybe the spirit will leave you alone.
Right.
And she freaks out. She's like, I'm a vegetarian. I can never do nothing like that. Next scene, she's at home. She gets tormented and she has a change of heart, which I mean, I don't blame her. Like the devil's knocking at your door.
Hmm.
But then she grabs a butcher knife from her kitchen, and she has the cutest little kitten. And she's like, kitty, kitty, kitty. And she goes after this thing.
Uh huh.
Bro, like, why
Yeah.
couldn't you, like, why'd you have to go after your pet? Like, if it was me, I would have went down to Chinatown, got like a freaking duck or something I had no ties to, said, sorry, Mr. Duck, and freaking sliced its head off. But
Yeah.
dude, that scene was nuts when she literally killed her cat. You hear the cat scream, and then next scene, she's burying it.
Yeah, dude. That actually really bothered the hell out of me too. But yeah, that movie in itself, dude, was there was one scene in particular that scared the hell out of me because it reminded me of a situation that I had experienced with a dark entity. And the scene is where they basically organize a I don't want to say an exorcism, but they basically are trying to do a ritual where they summon the demon, and their plan is to have this medium bring the demon into her body, and then there's like this goat that is secured right next to this reader, this medium, and that they're going to take the woman's hand when she is possessed by the demon, put it on the goat, have it transfer the essence of the demon into the goat, and then once inside the goat, they're supposed to slice its neck, effectively killing it and sending it back to hell, right? The problem is, obviously, it didn't work out that way, and the medium's assistant ends up getting bitten by the possessed goat. And seeing the goat get possessed and start talking, that messed with me in itself, right? Because what the hell, dude? Seeing the goats like face change and like take on full on emotions and start cursing Christine out and whatever was nuts. But then once this assistant ends up getting possessed, he immediately like levitates and he starts dancing in midair, and he like knocks over this candle and there's just like fire right underneath him, and he's just dancing all jovial, and he's just looking terrifying with his forehead all just like kind of mashed up and looking all crazy with his black eyes and these really sharp teeth. And it just reminded me of when everything started coming to a full head, when I, with my awakening, so to speak. For a long time I was plagued with this dark spirit that would bother me every single night. And it would dance over me just like that thing in the movie did. It would float over me and it would dance and it would not let me sleep. It would keep saying the most heinous things and try to get me to think low of myself. It was just a horrible, horrible period in my life. And seeing that scene, it just brought all that back to me, and it just freaked the hell out of me. So that's why it's like really hard for me to watch the movie. And I try to avoid it as much as I can, just because I don't want to be reminded of that interaction with that particular spirit.
It's
Or
kind of surprising that this movie is a PG-13
it's a
because
hard PG
there,
13, man.
yeah, because there's blood in here, uh, tough topics,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, it just kind of just pushes the envelope. So it was just a great pick.
Yeah, man. But yeah, guys, if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. If you're
It's on
afraid of
Tubi.
demons,
It's free on Tubi.
yeah, it's on a bunch of different streaming platforms right now. But if you don't have like a specific subscription or sub-subscription to another, you know, to another streaming app, then Tubi is definitely the way to go. It's there for free. So go ahead and watch it, man, if you want to freak yourself out. Moving on.
We're
Bless
moving
us, Mike.
on.
Bless us with your pick, man.
So another movie that is free on Tubi right now, and like I said earlier in the podcast, this isn't my favorite horror movie of all time, but I think this is, yeah, the scariest one out there. The one that probably gives me the heebie-jeebies the most. and that's going to be 2012's Sinister. So actually, a long time ago, I was out thrifting, and I remember finding a VHS like player,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know what, I want to buy this, and I bought it, and there was actually a movie that was inside of there,
Okay.
and because of this movie, I actually never even plugged the thing in, and I actually threw the VHS out, which now I kind of wish I would have played what was in there, but this
Mm-hmm.
movie at the time creeped me out so much that I would find something just like this movie that I didn't do it. I ended up just throwing out the whole entire thing.
Mm.
So, okay, Sinister 2012. Some people say it's the scariest movie of all time. I had this like fun fact pulled up
Okay.
that they were saying that this movie in 2023 they rated it a 96 out of 100 on the scare score, and the average heart rate hit 131 beats per minute.
Oh wow.
Okay, so enough hyping it up. Let's get into this movie is directed by Scott Dickerson. This is a supernatural thriller that stars Ethan Hawke as a true crime writer. And in the beginning of the movie, it starts with this 8 millimeter scene. So it looks very grainy and old, and you see this terrifying. I'm going to describe this movie, guys, and there's a lot of trigger warnings, a lot of stuff. Just FYI. So this movie starts, and it starts with a family that is hanging by a rope around their neck on a tree with bags over their head. And it cuts from that opening scene, and that's when you meet the family of this true crime writer, Ellison. And he's a book writer. He had one great novel 10 years ago, Kentucky Blood. And ever since then, he's been kind of chasing the next hit. I
Mm-hmm.
guess the last few hasn't been it. So what this guy does is he finds these houses where these murders happen, and he moves his family in there, and he dives deep into these stories, these murders, and he tries to write about them. So he moves his whole family there, and while he's unpacking, he goes up into the attic. And while he's in the attic, he finds this box. He opens it up, and there's a bunch of films, and they're in these tin cans.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all labeled. Okay. You have Family Hangout, Barbecue 1979, and Pool Party 66. So, I mean, any person would probably think these are just some family films, right?
Right.
So after he gets done setting up his office and whatnot, curiosity killed the cat. He ends up setting up the projector and he digs into these films that are left behind. And the first one he puts on is from the opening scene
Mm-hmm.
where the family was hanging. And he's left there scratching his head and he's like, who would film this? And who would leave this behind? So he ends up pulling out the next one, Barbecue 1979.
Mm-hmm.
In that one, you see a family having a great time down by the creek. The mom's unloading the car, and it cuts to. It almost reminds me of like a snuff film type situation. Like it's real dark, and basically there's a car, and this car is wrapped in chains. And as the camera is panning around the car, you can see inside of the car, and you see that the family is tied up with duct tape around their mouth
Right.
as the car is inflamed. So enough's enough. He kind of ends up just taking a break from that. He grabs himself a drink and he's just like, what the hell? And he ends up hearing something coming from like the room behind him. So he goes to investigate it and there's a box that's just sitting in the middle of the room,
Mm-hmm.
and suspense is building. He walks up to the box. His son, Trevor, bends his back outward out of the box, like contorts himself, and he just starts screaming.
Yeah. I remember.
And he grabs his son, and they shake it off as just night terrors. Him and his wife, they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, he's just having night terrors. Let's just wipe his face off with a cloth and put him back to bed." So the next night happens, and he gets back into another film, which is The Pool Party 66, and starts off nice families by the pool having snacks, drinks. Then it cuts again, and when it cuts, each family member is tied to a lawn chair with duct tape around their mouth,
Mm-hmm.
as each lawn chair is pulled into the pool where they pass away. But this is when he first sees a glimpse of this character. He has long black hair, white and black face, and he notices, okay, there's something going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts on his thinking cap, and he starts to kind of just dig deep and pause and try to find similarities amongst all these films. So he starts noticing these symbols and this guy. And so he ends up, reaching out to like a professor in town that he meets through one of the deputies that's a big fan of his. When he meets with the professor doesn't take long to say, "I'm very familiar with these symbols." He says, they're from Babylonian times,
Mm-hmm.
and he refers to the guy as Bagul, the eater of children. And he
Yeah.
explains that all these murders that he has on film, they're all the same, and every single one of them, there's always a child that goes missing
Mm-hmm.
because Bagul needs souls to survive. By this point, he realizes that he's not writing about evil anymore, that he's actually living it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so this movie, bro, you've seen it, right?
Absolutely, man. Although it's not something that I would say is like the scariest, at least not for me, but the tone of the movie is very dark, right? It's filmed in a lot of, dark scenes, which is something that I actually really appreciate. Ethan Hawke's performance in this movie was absolutely amazing. There are times where you loved him as a character, and then there were times where you hated him as a character, right? He becomes so ingrained in trying to figure out, what the origin of these films is, right? The films that he finds in the attic, because they're obviously being filmed by the same killer, right? And he is just working to try to unfold who this is. And these are obviously mysteries that have gone unsolved for a really, really long time. So he definitely wants to be the one to be able to say that he actually solved this mystery. He knows who the killer is, and he's so set in his ways, right? This is something that he's familiar with, right? This is what he does. He's a crime writer. So he knows exactly, what he's doing. He goes really deep into his research and whatnot. And he believes that this is a tried and true actual killer, serial killer of some type, But then, like you said, when it is revealed that there are similarities between these murders and these films, and you see that same symbol that pops up, and the symbol in itself is actually really creepy. I feel like it would make a pretty badass tattoo, honestly. But that character Bagul is so creepy looking, man. Like he looks like he stepped out of some type of horror rock video or something, right? Like horror metal video. It's absolutely amazing. Whoever designed the makeup, the mask of this person. And the thing is there's nothing really like super special about it, right? Because he has this long draping hair, and I feel like it, like the hair being in his face kind of adds to that mystique, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has like no eyes. There's like these sunken cesspools where his eyes were. He's got no mouth. So it's like, who would be really scared of something that plain? But the way that they designed it, it just looked absolutely amazing. And the fact that they were able to use kids, and you already know, when it comes to me, bro, anything creepy having to do with kids, that's like, nah, I'm good. Because that's like a complete opposite of what a kid should be, right? Kids are innocent. Kids are supposed to be a symbol of everything good in the world. And when you take that and you contort it into something dark or into something demonic, it does something, dude. It just freaks me the hell out, honestly. And the fact that they were able to take these kids, and I mean, should we do spoiler alert?
Yeah, let's go
I
for it.
mean, this was what,
Spoiler alert.
2012. Go ahead, man.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. So, spoiler alert, once you get to the actual climax of this video, or I'm sorry, this movie, you find out that the killer is not just one killer, it's multiple killers. The killer is a child in each one of these cases, and not just some random child. It is the youngest child of each one of these families. And the fact that they were able to come up with these elaborate ways to incapacitate their families and get them in positions to where they're actually able to kill them, it's unreal, dude. It's unreal. This is a movie that has no happy ending because it
Very, yeah, very
follows it
dark.
follows suit, right? It follows suit. So Ethan Hawke finds 5 reels of 5 families, the murders of 5 families, and then his gets to be the 6th. So it is revealed that Ethan Hawke's daughter has fallen under the influence of Bagul. And by the time he realizes it, it's too late. And he, in my opinion, I feel like they died in probably the most grisly way out of all 5. And that little girl takes an axe to her family. And they don't show you it, right? They show her dragging the axe in, and they show her holding that old school 8mm camera. And she tells her dad, "Don't worry, daddy. I'm going to make you famous again."
That's all he
Right?
wanted. Because there were
It's
so many
right.
times, there were so many times throughout the movie where you're just like, dude, pack up your shit and go. Like, why are you keeping your family here? You know?
Right. And it was all because he was obsessed. He wanted to make that next big book that, was going to be a huge payout for him. It was going to bring him back into the limelight and all that crap. But like, he basically sold out his family, you know? And there's a scene right at the end where, again, you don't see her hack her family to death, but the next scene is her drawing like a diorama of what she did to the family, and her hands are completely covered in blood. And as she's like putting the finishing details on this masterpiece, you see each character, and she has their names written, right? Mother, father, brother. And each one of them is in pieces, head cut off, arms cut off, legs. And it's just like, dude, there was something so eerie about this girl actually recording through a drawing what she did to this family that makes, to me, just makes it so much more eerie than us actually seeing her do it,
Oh yeah.
you know? And that's basically how they left it, man, where it was like, you know what? In his quest for truth, he ended up dooming his family, and he ended up dooming himself, and he himself ended up becoming one of the statistics that he follows so closely. which kind of poetic justice, if you ask me. You know,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this movie.
or
I,
irony, I
I
should say. Not poetic justice, more irony.
yeah, I mean, I challenge anybody.
Uh huh.
Watch this movie at midnight alone in the dark, and tell me you don't get a eerie feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Man, I'm saying.
I guarantee it. This is the reason why I chose this.
Mm
Like I said, it's not my favorite scary movie of all time, but when I was thinking of, okay, what is something that is, I think is frightening, terrifying,
hmm. Mm
something
hmm.
that will make you feel like, what did I just watch? Feel that feeling in the pit of your stomach, like
Yes, sir.
this is it. It's not for the light of heart.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't. It was a great pick, though, man. And honestly,
Yeah,
I think that anybody who chooses, if you're gonna watch any movie, um, this Halloween, definitely put Sinister on your watch list because it's definitely more on the creepier side. Like I said before, Drag Me to Hell is a little bit more of a kind of a horror comedy. There are some comical parts of it, although it is still disturbing and it's a fun watch too. You know, so if you want to add them both, add them both. But if I had to make a recommendation between the two, I would definitely say to watch Sinister if you want to get genuinely creeped out.
man, I love Tubi. It's crazy how there's all of these networks that
Mm-hmm.
want $15-20 a month for subscriptions, and then there's Tubi. And they have so many bangers on there. And I was on there and I actually seen that they put all of the Freddy Krueger like TV shows on there, both seasons.
Oh,
They
nice.
have R.L. Stein just put out a movie, Pumpkinhead,
Dude, I just put that on my watch list.
and that is a Tubi exclusive. So I definitely want to watch that too this week.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just Tubi, man. If you guys don't have it, download it. It's free, and there are so many good horror movies on there.
Right. And they don't switch up, man. At least they haven't yet.
Yeah, not yet. Hopefully,
Not yet.
never.
I mean, hopefully they don't do a price hike on it, man. But for right now, listen, if you can handle ads, go ahead and do it. You won't be sorry because they have so many different movies. Even if you're not a horror fan and you want to, I mean, they got tons of action. They've got tons of comedy. You know, every single genre. They just have a ridiculous, extensive library of different films. Check it out. I can't believe
Definitely.
dude, we're over here totally plugging Tubi for free. That's crazy.
I know.
But that's how much we love it.
And I haven't even given myself a guilty plug. So here's my spot. So right now you're listening to the Scary Vibes podcast. It's actually a horror community that I created 5 years ago on Facebook groups. And if you're not a member, I'd recommend joining our Facebook group. Be a part of it. We do giveaways. People are always posting, short stories, creepy things, creepy photos that they've seen on vacations at their homes.
Mm-hmm.
Just a great community that is free, and I am inviting you to join.
Yep. I'm always ranting and raving and talking about how great this group is. I mean, just the individuals that partake are just there's just such cool people, man. I love the recommendations. I love seeing the artwork that people post up and they're so enthusiastic about it. I just love how they share their love for the genre that we all love, right? That we all I mean obviously if you're here and you're listening to this, you're a fan of horror too. So why not go and join a community of a bunch of horror enthusiasts?
Ooh. I'm also curious on what is your most frightening or the movie that you find the scariest in the horror universe. I would love to know. So, wherever you're listening to this, go ahead and drop a comment, drop a like, let us know what movie creeps you out. I would love to find a new gem to add to the list.
Absolutely. I'm so curious to see what people recommend. I would love to see it. Please
Mm,
hit us up. Let us know.
exactly. But I think this is going to be an episode. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
And my name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. We'll catch you next time.